Tell us what people have come up with and what you make of Let Go, in terms that we're thinking of what are the applications of the improvisational principles. We can practice and experience these principles in the improvisational activities as we've done today and understand what they are. How do they apply in life or in work? What have you got on the poster? And anyone can join in if there's things to interpret or add that you've written on the posters.
So a few of them are about letting go of your own sort of expectations, letting go of fear. It's okay to set high standards, then it's okay to accept that you've done as well as you can and move on. So it's a sort of, letting go of the perfectionist, that you don't always live up to your shoulds and what have you. Let go of, these internal rules that are in our mind, and realise that we can do something different as well.
Has anyone got one or two specific examples of a particular letting go?
Oh, well, there are some here. When buying a house, let go of the plan that things will go according to plan. So flex the plan and respond to what emerges. And another one, taking on a job that sounds scary, letting go of the need to be an expert before that's possible or true.
Okay.
So that's specifics.
Anyone got a specific they'd like to add that's come to mind of a letting go that works for you or could well work for you in your professional or personal life?
I have another one. Like when I'm working with groups, I've completely let go of people's responses. If I go into a group, obviously I'm there to do my best, and I will receive feedback, and I will always learn from the feedback. But if some people, I'm not going to please every single person throughout the rest of my life, and so I let go of, I allow people to be who they are.
And how does that benefit you?
I can enjoy it. I can free myself up and be myself without worrying too much about them. So, yeah.
Who's got the eye?
That's me.
What sort of things were collected on that?
It's inhabit the moment, so we've got not rushing so much, focusing on the task in hand. Inhabit the moment by listening and receiving, using all senses. When feeling stressed, a good alternative to mindfulness for me.
But I'm not even sure it's an alternative. It's a form of mindfulness, of being present. These speak of much the same things. Any application examples of when it's going to be particularly useful to be in the moment, or that it's currently important and pays off for you to be in the moment? From anyone?
Well, there's one here that says catching myself when I speed ahead and slow down in order to be in the moment. So it's like looking at yourself as well, and also as teaching and coaching others. So looking at others as well. So it's about yourself and then recognising it in others.
Thank you. Any other examples? Inhabiting the moment. Okay. What about the F? Who's got that?
Got the F. Got a mixture of things, I think, really. I mean, in terms of freedom within structure, there's one here about when trying to implement change of work. I can see how I can fill the shapes within the leaves. So really being able to sort of really see there is a structure and what fits it and wants it. There's have more confidence in speaking out to senior managers. So clearly, that's an organisational structure, and so it's a different way of interpreting it. And then there's a sort of more philosophical one, which is if there's no glass to hold the water, then disperses into nothing, chaos. We need some structure in life to focus our energy, but plenty of freedom to allow energy to emergence to happen. So a mixture of things, really.
As struck by the working in an organisation, that organisations will often say, the manager has an open door policy, or we want to hear what people think around here. So there's a structure in place that people can take advantage of to have the freedom to say what they want to say, protected by that convention or that rule. Any other freedoms within structures that people have got coming to mind that they're using, where the recognition of the structure has given you some freedom?
I think just looking at this again, looking at the bits behind, I think the bit that is also is establishing the boundaries, because you've actually got to know the structure to have freedom within it. So it's also, and it probably comes back a bit more to the sort of being present, because you actually have to understand where you are and what you can do and what you can't do. And once you've got that, okay, you might feel as if you're slightly limited to decisions, but you've probably still got a lot of different decisions you can take. But you actually know that there's a personal risk element, and if you know the structure, then you can kind of mitigate some of those risks.
You can, it gives you a good way forward. There's always the option of changing structures too, so that may be harder than exercising freedoms within them.
Yeah.
Thank you. Who's got the E?
I have E, embrace uncertainty. My whole life is massively uncertain, so I either embrace it or jump off a cliff. Yes, worry less about the lack of position and enjoy becoming and not practicing too much. Sorry, I haven't read that right. Build up my skills and qualifications to go it alone. Look to collaborators to move things forward, less control, more action. Checking in with self and let be what is. Saying yes to what is. It is uncertain whether you want it to be or not. So better strategy to accept that uncertainty. Accepting that I am in control is a myth, but swapping it for influence enables me to have influence on any given situation.
I wonder if the go it alone and the find collaborators was the same person, or two different interpretations. You can do
Not
both.
the same handwriting.
Not the same handwriting. So going it alone is embracing the uncertainty of how you'll do, or working with others is embracing the uncertainty of what they'll bring to it. Nicely paradoxical. Anybody else got a story or an example of an embrace of uncertainty in life or work to add?
It's linked to letting go, I think, for me, is trying to hold on less tightly to things that make me feel safe, but aren't necessarily very full of growth. So trying to get rid of some of the things that just feel like the sea wall.
These ideas support each other.
Yeah.
So yes, if we're embracing uncertainty and doing something about that, then letting go will be part of what we're doing. Makes sense.
I think if you're going to look, I often talk in my corporate work about uncertainty, because the world has changed. And in the past, things were certain. You had cash flows, you had budgets, but you can't do that now because of the speed of change, globalisation, and all of those things. So, people, I think we need a different mindset if we're going to be resilient to the world as it currently is, and that means embrace this is how it is, because within uncertainty there is also a massive amount more opportunity if we can say actually this is good, rather than certain, which has very limited opportunity. Really.
Yes.
It's just,
We're moving from a world that was often described in terms that were mechanical, engineered and predictable, to one that's much more organic and complex. And it's worth recognising that and finding strategies for being able to flourish within that. Thank you. The P, who has that?
Play to play. Lots of life is like games. Play for status in work. Find rules and then subvert them. Make work more enjoyable by using energies. And exercises generate enthusiasm. The art of playing gives everyone permission to contribute, focus and take life not too seriously, and vary status to manage the managers.
Gives us tools for negotiating differently within the workplace.
Yeah.
Status.
It's really interesting though. The play element is always one I find difficult to introduce into corporate. That's always quite a hot potato. The idea of introducing play, a workshop at a business. But it's really possible. And all the environments I've worked in have been more playful while still getting the work done.
Yeah.
Playful is often more productive, but I think people in organisations are reluctant to investigate or allow play because in all the games the hierarchy is set aside. For a game to be fair, it has to give everyone a chance. So you have to set hierarchies aside, and that doesn't come naturally in a lot of organisations. But you can bring play in subversively or under some other guise or by announcing its benefits, and as you say, when you get play in there, things improve.
I like the one the person who wrote vary status to manage the managers. So I think just the process of noticing status things going on detaches you somewhere, and it feels more like a game that you're involved in once you notice the status it changes.
And it is a game.
Yeah.
Actually, there's some really interesting, it's my nerd coming out now, there's some really interesting research about play. All animals even play, and the health of a tribe of animals, a group of sheep or something, you can see if they're healthy by the level of play. And so there is actually a lot of research on play in humans and play adults and play in organisations that it does increase productivity and stuff like that. So it's actually it is a really positive thing.
The research shows that stress is very bad for us.
Yeah.
It can have a hugely damaging impact on health. And a brilliant, easy way of reducing stress is to start playing.
Yeah.
So these research findings will support each other. Thank you. Who's got the A?
You do.
I do. Accept and build. Take time to check resources I already have and build on those. So accepting your own resources, which often get neglected and overlooked, is a nice idea. Take others' ideas and build on them. Very simple improvisational concept, but frowned upon as cheating in schools, which is very damaging. Start from here and recognise progress. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. Teach others. Yes, and is my philosophy of life. We have to start by accepting reality rather than complaining about what it is. With acceptance, we can work to change. Yes, very difficult to change if you've not got a grasp of what's actually going on, isn't it? Being open to new challenges and allowing the exploration of challenges with no judgment, and think positive. Yeah. Anyone got a more concrete yes and, accept and build example you'd like to share? Where you might use it in a practical, daily way?
Well, the example that comes to mind is this. It relates back to sort of what I was saying about uncertainty. The world has changed. And we need to accept, that certain things have changed. We can't, my industry has changed, lots of people's industries have changed, and security has changed, finances have changed. We just need to accept this is how it is. It's not going to go backwards. And so we need to okay, how do we adapt now to this new world?
So in adapting, we are being resilient.
Yeah.
And going with what's there, but still making something of it that's valuable, worthwhile, or useful for ourselves and our colleagues. It's macro and micro as a concept. The S, the short turn taking. Who's got that?
I do. So a lot of comments about collaboration, giving and receiving. Short and focused bouts of creativity rather than long and tiring ones. Building on ideas and getting participation. Give and receive. Swap, I guess it's a more specific one. Swap favorite book titles with friends inspires a run of good reads. Success principles is in brackets. Working creatively with colleagues, co-production in public sector. In today's world, we need to collaborate and work together. No more American dream, I do it alone myth. See also Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. Recommendation, I believe there might be some Latin here, I'm not sure.
Well, it's always good to have some Latin.
Yeah, well, I never took Latin, so I don't know what that is, if they want to share it.
Learn, do, and watch more improv, is it? Learn, do, and watch more improv.
Maybe it's not Latin.
That's
That's
English.
because it's an
What's that? Oh, that's an ant? I thought it was dough. I thought it was like Liam Doe Watch Me Crimpo. And I was like, I'm really curious as to what that's going to be.
Good advice.
Okay, so not Latin. Being good in facilitating my groups, always being inspired by the people around me. So kind of a similar idea of collaboration.
Yeah, positive response there to the short-term taking. And people see a lot of possibilities in that. What about the other S?
Spot successes. This is pretty much equally divided between recognising our own successes and giving ourselves reward or praise or acknowledgement of what we're doing well and building on that, and supporting team members, so making our partners look good. Support team members, care, be grateful, be kind. Working with them as a team and reinforcing their success. And
So,
then,
sorry, it's a thought that occurred to me that success doesn't have to be at the expense of somebody else. If you're playing to win, it does, because then there's a loser. If you're playing to play, then both parties or all parties can succeed, and it's not a zero-sum game.
yeah. And so the other half is reward and praise myself for successes. Keeping it simple, no expectations of what should. Workshops that work, offer them more widely, recognise what's working, be myself.
Thank you. Anyone got any other stories or examples of specific things that have popped into mind of where you might apply an improvisational principle in life or work that we haven't mentioned yet?
The,
No, go on.
I was thinking about the accept and build one. Just before I came here, I met someone to talk about some workshops, and I had some ideas in my mind, and I think they had some ideas in my mind. And we had a brainstorm, and in the end, after the brainstorm, we sifted something out and started working from that. So we generated a load of ideas, and then the things that we'd already planned weren't useful. We started building on something that came from the brainstorm.
Your yes and accept and build conversation generated a new thing, which is the one that's better and you're going to do.
Yeah.
Oh, it was this actually. It was about spotting successes, and I think I have, maybe still do, a tendency to crit things really hard that I've created, and thinking that that's rigorous, and actually really takes a long time to kind of go. Actually, that was probably. Oh, that was fine. That was good, even. So there's something blocking about doing that. I think, as well as being wanting to be honest. Really kind of ripping it apart first. And so I think, anyway, I think that can be a blocker.
You can afford a little more generosity to yourself.
Yeah, probably. And then, purely for sort of creative reasons, if nothing else.
Yes. We know that ideas need to have some time to flourish and get built upon because they're very easily squashed at the beginning. Great. Thank you all very much indeed. So we'll finish there.